Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome in. If you're coming back, I'm glad to see you. I would like to talk today about spooky, spiritual, that sort of thing that happens when you're working as a nurse. And I would ask that if you like my content and you want to hear more, that you like, subscribe, and follow, and comment below. So let's get into it. I worked night shift, as I have talked about in other videos, as a CNA first. And you know, that's when the creepy, spooky things happen. I'm a very spiritual person. I have a lot of spiritual beliefs. And also, I think we could talk about like strange traditions that you have as a nurse or healthcare worker regarding death. That's really interesting to me. So, how about those times when you're working at night and a call light goes off in a room that you know there's not a patient and there's not a patient near that room? Now, when I started in healthcare when I was 19, it was the 90s, okay? And it was the late 90s, okay? But it wasn't the early 90s, but it was the late 90s, and everything wasn't always as technologically advanced as it is today. So some call lights were a string that could be pulled, and others were the button that you pressed. Mostly that's what I saw, you know, with the button in the wall. If that got pulled out of the wall, it would set off the call light. And the question is, how would it get pulled out of the wall when nobody is in that room? There is not a strong enough current from the air conditioning to pull a call light out of the wall socket. So there were specific rooms where we would see a call light going off, or say you're doing your rounds on one unit and you look across and you see the light on in a room that you know there's not a patient. And when you walk around to check it out, there is not one patient lurking around. There's no staff lurking, because you know when you work on night shift, it's pretty bare bones. You've got a very minimal amount of staff to do the job. It's mostly rounding, and there wasn't any staff or any patients, residents over there by it. And when you work in long-term care and skilled nursing, you get a lot of deaths, because you're dealing with people that are at that stage in their life, at the end of their life and in that journey. And so there is a lot of death. And I believe in spiritual stuff, but let me tell you, I don't want none of that. I don't want any part of when you see someone walking down the hall when you know ain't nobody awake. I have seen people or shadows walking in the hall, and you know what? I'm not going to investigate it either. So one of the things that you do when you're a night shift nurse is, I used to work like 7P to 7A, and one of the things that I was responsible to do was go around all the doors and lock them. There were automatic locks on some of them, but the front door, you had to use a special key to lock the doors. So as a person who's worked evening shift and night shift many years, I have locked many doors at night. So one of my responsibility was to go and lock all the doors, and and check to see if an alarm would go off when I opened the door saying front door open, etc., etc. I had to go through the building and make sure all the alarms were working and that all of the doors were locked. So when you see somebody walking in the hallway, you know you didn't. No, you didn't. And I believe in that stuff. I really do. So I don't know. What are your beliefs? Do you believe in spirituality? Because some things I just feel like science can't explain. People want to explain things scientifically, and I'm very scientific minded as a nurse. But some things just really cannot be explained away scientifically. I don't care. If I saw it and she saw it, then you can't explain that to me scientifically, okay? If it was just me, you might be able to say I was hallucinating or something, but when 3 of us or 4 of us see the same thing, I think it's spiritual. And there was a time whenever we had a hospice room and a hospice room in a facility that I worked at, and patients frequently passed in there at their end stages of life. They came there just on hospice, just to pass in the facility. And one of the things that we do on night shift is we have cleaning duties, we have setup duties. If a person's going to be coming in, we need to make sure that the bed is ready to go. Yes, nurses and CNAs do that. We make the bed, we put the bed in high position, ready for transport, and we make the bed look pretty and presentable. So my CNAs were in there preparing a room. I walked in to talk to them, and two of us at the same time had the hair on our arms stand up and the hair on the back of my neck. And we left that room because you could just feel the energy in there. And that is an experience that you can't explain away. In that room, it really was, you know, it was the room, and you would get hair raising and chills and goosebumps in that room. More than once that happened. I hated to go in that room, but that is the room where we had our hospice patients and where we took care of our hospice patients. And I thought we could talk about traditions or superstitions that you have revolving around death and healthcare. When you work at night, you don't want anybody to die. You don't. I don't ever want anybody to die when I'm at work, honestly, on my shift. But I've seen many deaths, I've experienced many of them, and honestly, now that I am in hospice, being part of those deaths can be a very beautiful experience and very comforting to the family to have you there. But when I was young, when I was in my 20s, I didn't want anybody to die on my shift. And I think if I worked in a facility, I still wouldn't want that. I still wouldn't want anybody to die in the middle of the night, because I think a lot of families want to be present, you know. But we had little superstitions that we would do, such as tying a corner of the bed sheet so that the angel of death could not take the patient in the night. We would tie the corner of the bed sheet, and it worked. Okay. It worked. I don't know why. Is it my faith? Is it just that it wasn't the patient's time to go? I couldn't tell you, but we tied a knot in the corner of the sheet and our patients didn't pass that night. Another thing that you will see happen often in long-term care or skilled nursing is if a person passes, we will open the window. I do it. We open the window to let the spirit out. Does the window need to be open for your spirit to leave your body and leave the house? Probably not. But we do it. We open the windows so that the patient's spirit can leave the room. I've been doing it since I was 19 and I'm almost 50. So it's a long time we've been doing that practice. And I know there are cultural things that happen for people revolving around death too. When you have patients from different cultures and religious backgrounds, they have specific things that they need to be doing to prepare the body for burial. And some people don't believe in cremation. Some people believe strictly in cremation. I have seen rituals that people want to do when a patient dies, religious type rituals, and we try to accommodate those things in facilities when we can. We try to honor a patient's wishes and make those things happen. What are some things that you have personally experienced spiritually or spooky? You know these things happen at 3 a.m. Okay, that's the time they happen. What's happened to you? I'd love to hear about it. I love spooky stories. And what are your beliefs around death? What are some rituals and traditions that you have for your patients around death? Do you open the window when they die? Do you tie a knot in the sheet so that death can't take them? What are some practices that you have incorporated into your practice that aren't necessarily by the book? They're just beliefs that seem to be passed on from nurse to CNA to nurse to CNA. I would love to hear about it in the comments. Talk to me about it and I'll answer back. But if you like what you see here and you want to see more, I'll say it again. Like, subscribe, and follow, please. And I hope to see you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.